Good morning everybody and welcome back to my little mini series on turning my Berlingo into my micro camper. So in this video I am going to be showing you how I'm now in the process of making it definitely more homely, ready for my first trip away in a few days. I am so excited to actually get out on the road and spend my first night in Berlingo. As you can probably see, the foam is covered, so what I'm going to do is show you what I've used to cover it and what else I've bought to do kind of like all the soft furnishings inside. And in keeping with the theme, I have gone as very cheap as possible to get this build done on a budget. So let's hop back a few days and I'll show you exactly what I've been using. I am now up to doing all the niceties in here. Don't get me wrong, all the build is a nicety, however this is more my area. So I am going to cover the foam today. Now obviously because I'm doing the build as cheaply as possible, and something I have never done in any of my projects in the past is actually gone out and bought fabric off the roll. What I always use is curtains. In the past I've used second-hand curtains from charity shops, however I have searched my local ones and there hasn't been anything suitable, and because I do want to get it done today, I popped up to Dunelm and got these curtains in the sale. So I don't know if you can see that. They should have been £65 and they were down to £16.25. So they're thermal lined, which will be fab because I always leave the thermal lining on as well because it makes the fabric that little bit thicker for covering. And because I've got quite a decent size, I'm hoping there will also be enough left to do my window coverings. Now a few of you have asked what am I doing about the windows, because obviously I do not want to be exposing myself in the night or at any other time. So because I only need to do these two, because the back window there I've got my window box, and I'm also going to be making a window box for this side, which I haven't done yet but I will be in another video. So I need to do these two, and I obviously need to do the back window as well. So there's a few options, and as per I'm going to make it up as I go along. Now I could sew magnetic strips onto the curtain so that I just pop them on overnight and then take them off in the day. I am actually storing my window stuff up here because there's like a really handy shelf. Well, I say it's really handy, you're limited to what you can put in it. So I've got sort of like my camping and caravanning guide books in there, and I thought all my window like blinds and stuff can go up there as well because they're easy to get to. So yeah, I've got to make two for there, one for the back window, and possibly if there's enough, see, just doing this like bit ad hoc as well. I haven't really measured anything, I've just guessed. I sort of thought, well that's a big curtain, I'll get a lot out of that. I'm gonna do one across here as well, so they will be held on with magnets. The same with the back window, I think will be on with magnets. Well no, the back window definitely will be, I think. I think the other option is, because this is like a it's not fabric, but you know, it's like a soft stuff, I could velcro them on sort of across. That's another option. I have also thought I could do a tension rod across, so then that's more like a proper curtain that could be left up all the time, which I quite like that idea because I think that aesthetically would look quite pretty. It'd like girlify the whole thing, wouldn't it, and soften it all. So that's another option, but not up to that until I've got all the fabric cut out for the cushions first of all. So that is what I'm going to go and do now. I'm going to cut it out and get sewing them up, and yeah, I will hopefully show you the finished products when they're back in situ. Fingers crossed. Cushions are done. I am very happy with how they've turned out. I'm thinking I am going to put a little bit of Velcro though on the back of this single one and just attach it to the side there, because it does keep dropping. So I'm going to stick a little bit of Velcro on that. I'm going to do the curtains next, and I am going to actually use, now I did buy a duvet cover for in here, which I really like the pattern of, and I have now gone back and bought the double one, because I bought a single one because I'm only going to have a single quilt. I went back and I bought the double one. I'll just show you the pattern, all coordinating. Would you expect any less? So that is what I'm going to use for my curtains. I couldn't decide whether the blue or the white, but I think, oh, now I might go for the white. I'll decide as and when I come to do them. I might have them interchangeable, so I can have them either way actually. Yeah, I think the white. But anyway, I'll fathom that bit out. What I'm going to use to attach them, curtain wire. I've come up with a few different scenarios of attaching. Now this back one is going to have a window box, so I don't need to worry about that one. So I need to basically have the curtains to cover definitely this window, and the way I'm doing them, so it's going to go, I'm going to put hook and eyes, one there, and I'm going to put the other one on the front here on this little storage bit. So the wire will run all the way across, and the curtains will then go just up to where that little shelf is. So it's only going to half cover the front window. However, across the front I am going to do a wire from there to the other side, and I'm going to have a curtain going across there down to the seats. Now I was toying with it, do I put it here to hide the seats, but then I'm still going to have that little bit at the front with no covering. Now I could get another one of these foils and put that over, but the plan I've come up with, if I put the curtain here, then all of this will then be, I'll have privacy. And also because Bella is gonna sleep on the front seat, it means she's still she's still part of it, isn't she? And also I think if a curtain was here, it's gonna feel a little bit like I'm in a box. I know I am in a box, but it's gonna seem a bit bigger, I think, if the curtain is there. So that's my plan. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make these into curtains, and I'm going to do the same for the back window. Hook and eye system again, wire across, and that will cover up the back window. Now the other thing was lighting. A few people had mentioned, was I upgrading the actual lights built into the car? But no, I'm not, because I'm not going to use them. In fact, it hadn't even occurred to me to use those. But what I've actually bought is these little cabinet lighting things off Amazon. So they are just little USB chargeable ones. So there's 2 in a pack. I'll put the link in the description. So you get 2 in a pack, and they're actually magnetic. So my thought is I can then, if you look, there's magnets here. I could either, and there's a magnet on the back, well, there's not a magnet on the back door. The back door is metal, isn't it? So you're getting the gist. I can put them where I need them. So I could stick one on the back door. I could stick them on the side as well if I wanted. However, when you see how bright these actually are, I think I'm only going to need one of them. So you can't really see because it is pretty light, but these are actually super bright in the dark. So yeah, I have a feeling only one of these is going to be needed. So yeah, they're on flash. I don't know why you have flashing ones. Hang on, let me just get it back on. Oh, it's flashing at me. Right. And you can hold it, apparently dim, hold press to dim after turned on. Oh, there we go. So you can dim them as well, which, yeah, that's probably going to be a little bit better. Is that off or is it going to keep flashing? Anyway, that's my lighting sorted. So I've got a sofa's covered, my phone covered. I'll be doing the curtains. I've got my lighting sorted. I've made a couple of little cushions for here for when I'm reclining back. That was just an old scrap of fabric I had, and that was an old dress that I no longer wore. So I thought, right, that can be made into a cushion. So there we are, and they were just two old cushions that I had, so they've not really cost me anything to do. Yeah, right, I think I'm gonna go and get on the machine. Not on it, I'm not gonna sit on it or anything, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean again. And I'm gonna go and get these curtains done. Absolutely nothing is going to waste. So I'm using the lining that was on the curtains that I used to cover the sofas, the thermal lining. I'm using it to line these curtains just to help keep the light out a little bit. And also, if I've got my lights on inside, it won't be quite as obvious. Although, yeah, I think you are gonna see a bit of light through them. They're not blackout lining, they're only thermal. But it might help a little bit, mightn't it? Waste not, want not. I think what I'm loving most now about this part is I can be really creative. My cushion's fallen. That's why they need Velcro on the back of them. Right, so I've got quite a lot of this thermal lining left off the curtains, what I've turned into the covers for the foam, and it is actually, it's quite a rigid, sturdy fabric. So what I'm going to do with this is the back of the seat. I'm thinking I'm going to make like an organiser with some pockets for putting, like, I don't know, bits and bobs. We all have bits and bobs, don't we? So on the back of the seat, I'm going to use this to make the actual the back of the organiser. When I was in Tesco in the sale, these two napkins, I think they were £1.75. Loved the colour. So my daughter said, what are you going to do with them? You don't need napkins in the Berlingo. Not going to be used for napkins, so just look at these. These are fab. So quite girly with little frayed bits, nice blue. They are going to become the pockets in my organiser. It's gonna look amazing. So that's my next job now. Gonna go and make this organiser for the back of the seat. I'm getting so excited. Right, back to the machine I go. Guess what, guys? I'm done. It is all ready to go. So all my curtains are up. I've got my curtains on the side windows, I've got my curtain on the back window, and I've got my curtain across the front here. These were quite interesting to do because obviously it's not sort of, nothing straight, and also this is soft. I've got nothing hard to fix into really. So I did kind of have to sit and do a little bit of head scratching as to how I was going to get the curtains to stay up in place. They need gluing. So as you'll see by the little hook that has now just popped off and dropped down there, I have to open the door to get it out. They are just little the command strip hooks, so they do need gluing on properly, and they are purely to then hold this wire up, because where I've got the wire attached the front and the rear, well, to here, I've got it in this panel here. As you can see, it sits slightly lower than the door itself. So that wire needs to be up a little bit. So I thought command strips, the hooks are probably going to be the best thing to do. It's got to be something that can stick on as opposed to screw in, because there's nothing to screw into. So I'm sure with my very, very strong sticks like you know what, they should hopefully hold on. If not, I'll have to think of an alternative. But yes, so I've got my side curtains, front curtain, back curtain. Now the back curtain, you'll see this has also got a command strip hook, but that one obviously is sticking because it's on the metal. Now if I didn't have that hook there, if you see, because I've got to go into the plastic trims again, it's gonna be too low, so that little hook there just keeps it up out the way. Then in the day when I'm not driving along, I just unhook that. No, sorry, when I am driving along, I unhook it, hook it onto the other side there, and it'll just tuck down there out the way. So that's that window sorted. There's my light. What I've got to do actually for going away is I just need to make, just get some paper or something and some blue tack, and I'm just going to cover that window with a bit of blue tack for now, because that's where my other window box is going to go when I get around to making it. And I'll show you the front window, what I'm doing there. Now the front window was actually the easy one, because it's going onto the little hook and eye from the side windows, so it just hooks on, and because it's straight, it actually sits straight as well. And then in the day when I'm driving, I will just unhook it from there and from there, and then I can just roll it up, and it can either sit along there or underneath where my bed, where my duvet is, so that will be out the way. But yeah, I'm pleased. I am really pleased with how it's how they've turned out, considering what I was facing with these dodgy walls. You'll see this one's staying on, so this one I maybe just didn't press it down firm enough. That one's held. So with all the curtains all drawn, that's it. I've got my privacy, and I've got the aesthetically pleasing to the eye look of it being quite pretty. So I'm well chuffed. There's me the light. Oh, it's quite hot in here as well. So I've actually got this little USB fan. Everything's just USB. It's brilliant because I can just charge everything up off my Bluetti there. So I'm self-sufficient, I'm off-grid, I've got everything I need in here ready for my first little trip away. I'm so excited to start actually putting bits of food in and that, because then it all becomes real. I'm gonna lift my cooler box in and get that filled up. Just give you a little look at what I've got going on over this side here. So I've got my little light on the back door there, or I can move it onto that side there. I've got my little shelf with all my little knickknacks on. My tea and coffee is going to go on there. I've got my carbon monoxide alarm, which I've still got to put that up, so that's the next job there. So that's the little holder I done from the lining of the curtains and the napkins. So I've just got to put a little bit of Velcro on the top to make it sit back against the seat. But I'm well pleased with that. So handy for putting poo bags and things like that for the dogs. Perfect. So my cooler box is just tucked down there. My Bluetti is there, which that's going to go on a raised shelf when I get round to doing that bit. My dry robe tucked in there. And then I can still quite easily access my window things and everything on that little shelf there. I've stuck a light in there. That actually just fits perfectly up there, out the way, and easy to get to. Right guys, so the next time you see me in the Berlingo, I am actually off on my first overnighter. So I hope you will stick around to watch that, see how I get on. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.